choose a song to shake thy bum too.
We have come tonight to rock you. And you know, I'm getting a feeling like we're going to have a good time here tonight. Hey, what about that?
Hello and welcome to Listen to What the Man Said. This is an offshoot podcast of my YouTube channel called Bored at the Right Time. This is going to be a chance for me to kind of talk freely about the music I like without having to worry about the structure or anything like that the channel demands. Today we're going to talk about some new releases in the last 2 weeks, Record Store Day, and I'm going to try to cover in every episode a topic, something about Paul McCartney, my favorite musician, artist, songwriter of all time. After all, listen to what the man said. Let's listen to what the man has sung, right? In the last couple weeks, there's been a lot of new releases, and I recently got into a newer artist that released an album, Father John Misty. I had never really listened to him until he released his new album, and I have to admit, I really enjoy it. It's kind of like relaxing, and it's not the crazy kind of techno, balls to the wall compression that modern music is these days. There's some dynamics in his songs, and he's a very funny, sarcastic kind of songwriter. So I really kind of like that. He's like a young Randy Newman. So I went to his store online and I ordered his newest album, which is some weird name. It's like Khloe Kardashian or something. I don't know. What is it? Chloe in the Next 20th Century. I noticed that his song titles have a lot of parentheses. It's Kiss Me, parentheses, I Loved You, parentheses, everything but, close parentheses, her love. There's 4 different song titles that have the parentheses. Unless it's someone I've listened to a lot, I have a hard time differentiating like the song titles, or be like, oh, this one's Goodbye, Mr. Blue. Give me a break. Like, unless I listen to it 6 times, I'm not going to know the song titles. Or if I'm really into the artist, I'll kind of try to learn the song titles and know the song titles. But in this case, I just kind of listened to the album all the way through, and I feel like if the first minute or so kind of hooks me, makes me want to listen to the rest of the album, then, we're golden. I'll sit and listen to it. And I feel like that's kind of missing these days, because it's more of, no one really makes an album to make an album. They make, a single, and then hopefully everyone buys the album, if that makes sense. It's kind of like the 60s where they'd push the single. And my mother used to tell me that in the 60s, no one really bought the albums because they were just like, the single and 10 throwaway tracks. And if you kind of listen to some of the deep cuts from the 60s, you kind of realize that that's exactly what it is. And I feel like that's coming around again. There's very few artists that make an album. I'm not saying we have to make a concept album, like we're not making Dark Side of the Moon, but like make an album that kind of ebbs and flows and kind of, plays from start to finish, and you can enjoy it. Not all the songs are going to be hits or, wonderful songs, but it's nice to have like those ups and downs, instead of like up and then shit. And I feel like some of the older legacy artists try to do that. Like Paul McCartney really tries to craft an album from start to finish. Think of like Egypt Station or McCartney 3. Not all of them are hits or misses, but he's famous for using like links, like cuff links. That's one of his little inside jokes. But he's famous for like trying to link the songs together and make the album an enjoyable experience from start to finish. Like he wants you to flip the record. How many times I listen to a new record and I'm just like, the side ends and I can just be like, I don't need to listen to the other side. But then there's some records that really make me want to get up, flip that record, listen to it, then listen to it all over again. And very few records these days are like that. So, Father John Misty. Bonnie Raitt also released a new album. It seems like she's releasing a new album almost every year, which is good. I saw her in 2019, one of the last concerts I went to before that whole pandemic thing. And she opened for Mark Knopfler at Madison Square Garden. What an awesome, awesome show that was. Her new album is called Just Like That. I was really impressed with the first track, Made Up Mind. And it kind of just accentuates her guitar playing and shows she's still, such an amazing slide guitarist and just like bluesy kind of chunky Strat player. I don't know how else to describe it. So that song made me want to listen to the rest of the album. And to be honest with you, I would say 7 out of the 10 songs are really, just good listening songs. There's there's a couple slow songs, there's a couple blues songs, there's like rock songs, and it's nothing near the perfection that Nick of Time is. But it's not bad for a legacy artist who's been going 50 plus years and still making music. And I know that she puts a lot of care into the vinyl release. I don't know if she does that personally or if her team does it or the record label, whatever. But I know that her last release was cut at 45 RPM, which I feel like that's a waste of vinyl. I am all for the best pressing of a classic album, but Bonnie Raitt is not the type of artist that I think we need 45 RPM pressings from. Like if you're dealing with like a Peter Gabriel album that can only benefit from the bass response a 45 RPM cut can do, if you want to hear So with all the bass that is meant to be there, be my guest. But I feel like cutting newer albums to 45, it's kind of, like I said, like a waste of vinyl. And to be honest, I don't even know if the audiophile people are going to fall for that. Plus, it's so wicked expensive. It's, you need 2 records. I don't know. I just don't feel like, unless you're actually recording it to tape and there's like a nice warm fuzzy analog thing, sometimes they overdo it digitally. I feel like someone who really takes time and effort to do that type of production value is like a Mark Knopfler type who has such a unique recording experience. He's starts digitally, then goes to tape, and his studio, British Grove Studios, he is famous. I've seen this in some of the behind the scenes videos. What he'll do is he will use like the old Abbey Road tape decks just for the bass preamp. He'll run the bass through that and then into digital. And you get that nice warm kind of, his records just sound impeccable. And if you see his studio, go on, probably on YouTube, there's a studio tour that I think is on the bonus of Get Lucky, his 2009 album. I have the CD that came with the DVD, so that's rather impressive. But he is, one of the top tier people of sound quality. I feel like, Paul McCartney, not to always talk about him, but listen to what the man said, right? Paul McCartney always puts so much time and effort into the vinyl pressing. So I would say, back to Bonnie Raitt, I would say on the album, the best track is the first one, Made Up Mind. And it sounds very reminiscent of like when I saw her live. It's like the band plays, just like they're very tight. So anyway, that brings us to some of the new releases. I was poking around online and I saw a new release coming out, and it's called The Original George Thurgood. Okay. And what it is it's all the songs that he wrote. So it's not like his covers that he did, because he's always famous for doing like those blues covers with like I Drink Alone. Oh no, that's one of his songs. Never mind. So anyway, this is a CD of his songs that he wrote. Okay, these are written and performed by George Thurgood. And Born to Be Bad, I Drink Alone, Bad to the Bone, of course. There's a song called Rock and Roll Christmas, which the hype sticker says it's rare. And it includes the previously unreleased Back in the USA. So anyway, there's a website I follow that sometimes has like signed memorabilia, signed, new records, whatever. And they never really have the records, though. They always sign the CDs. I feel like what they should do is just sign like a postcard, if you will, a postcard. I feel like they should sign a postcard of like the CD cover, or print, a vinyl size of it, have them sign it, put it in the record, and call it a day. They don't have to sign the record. But this is an autographed version of that CD. Okay, the CD costs probably $18, so for $20 plus shipping and handling, I get an autographed CD. The only thing is, though, it looks like the marker was running out, which I feel like maybe after every 100 they should, change the marker. But so you can see that. Let's try to get that in focus. There you go. Anyway, Record Store Day. Let's talk about Record Store Day. So when the list was first announced, I felt like it was kind of a dud year, and it's the 15th year, so I felt like maybe they could have put a little more effort into, oh, it's our 15th year. Let's put some effort into it. But after I kind of got all of my stuff, I was really like, this year actually wasn't as bad as I thought. I mean, I'm staring at that pile right here, and I'm afraid to actually go into it because it is rather cumbersome. Should I? I'll do it. And, sometimes I buy records just because I like the artist and I don't know anything about what the record is. And that's probably a third of what I bought this year. So we'll just sort of go start to finish, I guess. Darlene Love. Darlene Love, The Many Sides of Love, the complete reprise recordings plus. So this is her reprise recordings. And to be honest with you, I don't think I know any of these songs. And they're kind of like, I dare not say, how do I say this nicely? Because I don't mean it to be mean, but like bubblegum 60s rock, like throwaway kind of My Johnny's Coming Home, a little too like time sensitive. Like you could tell just listening to it. There's a song called TV Commercials. And What Are We Gonna Do in 64? I really wasn't blown away with the songs, but I mean, don't get me wrong, Darlene Love in her prime, still a good singer, but Darlene Love in her prime, holy cow, was she a good singer. Belted it out, man. And this is on aqua blue vinyl. It's kind of cool, right? See-through, transparent. But again, my only qualm is it is a paper sleeve, no protection other than the paper, so it scratches the shit out of the record. And then I was shopping around, and one of my record store buddies was telling me that he was really looking forward to the Sandy Denny record, and I really didn't know anything about her. I kind of heard the name before, but anyway, I saw this at one of the record stores and I bought it sight unseen. This is, or not sight unseen, but sight unheard maybe. So this is just one of those that I bought, which didn't really know anything about it, but I listened to it. You can tell because the shrink is, I still keep it in the shrink. I don't know why. It's just an anal thing I do. But this was very, very well recorded. I was really impressed with this record. It's a live album. And it was her last concert recorded because I guess she died a couple months later. And yeah, so it says when this concert was first prepared for release in 1998, technical issues on the master tapes meant that most of the guitar tracks were re-recorded. And 2 people added vocals to a number of songs, backing vocals. This new release attempts to present the album as it may have appeared at the time, as a single LP of the finest performances with Sandy's spoken introductions and the audience's original response reinstated. So, obviously not from an analog source, but this is a really nice 180 black vinyl. It was filthy. I had to clean it 2 or 3 times to get it to play cleanly, but yeah, I was really impressed with the performances. So this is another one that I watched this guy on YouTube that runs a channel that owns a record store in Arizona called The In Groove, Mike at The In Groove. And he reminds me of me. He's just like outspoken, kind of don't give a crap what people think. He's going to say what he wants to anyway. And he was going through all of the releases, and he gets, probably 30 copies of, hard to find stuff and 80 copies of the other stuff. So, I mean, he has a lot of product, and he went through each and every release, showed it off, and kind of gave a quick kind of, this is what it is, that kind of thing. And he was showing off this one, the Middle Eastern Soul of Carly Records. Carly Records. I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it, but I can't even say his name, but it looks like Sarin Boranin. And it's a modern harmonic, which I'm not usually a fan of because, to be honest, I usually don't know any of the modern harmonic stuff. They're very obscure. But anyway, this looks rather interesting. Looks like Middle Eastern music. Trailblazing Armenian American jazz and folk from a master of the clarinet, sax, and traditional Middle Eastern duduk. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these instruments. The set collects the first 3 albums of Sarin's own Carly Records and covers his 50s work all the way through to 1976. It's on red colored vinyl. I think it's on red. I listened to the first record. It's a 3-record set for $40. I mean, come on, that's insane. That's such a good, and it's on 180 too. So I mean, it really is a good quality product, and the packaging looks amazing too. So it's a really high quality product for like what the price point should be. And this is one of those that clearly is not going to sell out anytime soon. So if you like to take a chance on something for a moderate price, I would recommend this, because the first album of the 3, again, it's kind of like I didn't know anything about him, didn't know any of the tracks, but it's still just one of those things where you're like, yeah, I dig this. It's in the background. It's playing. I enjoyed it. This is like the Record Store Day record that never was. This is the America's Greatest Hits. And a couple things about this. Friday Music did it, and I think they released it in 2 different colors. This is the white vinyl. But again, they didn't really put any stickers on it or anything, so like you wouldn't really know it's a Record Store Day release. The other thing that kind of, I don't think I've ever heard this album, but again, America, it's nice to have greatest hits because, at least you get a little exposure to it. I don't know if I could be a deep cuts America fan. But one thing that was really weird about this, and I'm not sure how George Martin signed off on this, but they crossfade between the tracks. So like A Horse with No Name starts to fade out, and then I Need You starts to play. I Need You fades out, then Sandman starts to play. Ventura, they all kind of fade into each other like it's radio. It's odd. And so again, this is mastered from the original Warner Brothers tapes by Joe. I think it's Ragoso, Joe Ragoso. I don't know how to pronounce it, but he does all the mastering for Friday Music. And to be honest, I've never really had any complaints. Friday Music usually sounds good. They do a good job on the packaging. The only thing I would say is is that white? No, okay, no, it's not just paper. Good, never mind. I have a bunch of Billy Joels by him. Oh, God, the Mingus. Oh, can't wait. There's just so many hours in the day. This is on Resonance, and it is number 726 of 5,000. So this is one of those Resonance, records that are just, the price point is insane. $85 for a 3-disc set. Now, I know that it's not the record stores, so I'm not going to say where I bought this, but let me tell you, it's anywhere between $80 and $90. It's not like it's a huge difference, but still, that's almost That's almost $30 a record. Now, I know that this is 180 remastered by BG, Bernie Grundman, pressed at RTI. They have to deal with the family and the packaging. This is probably a Stoughton cover, all that kind of stuff. Resonance always does a good job. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing anybody. I'm just saying that the price point is a little out of reach for most people. And while we're on the subject of crazy Resonance prices, 54 for Bill Evans and 60. So is this 3 records? A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. No. Okay, so there's 2 Bill Evans. I think that was kind of shitty of the family and Resonance to do to us, because usually there's one hard to get, and now it's almost like they're saturating the market. So there's one called Morning Glory, which is from 1973. He's got a creepy mustache. And this is copy 396 out of 6,500. So that's kind of cool. That's a low. And then there's one from 1979 in Argentina. So again, these are, the Resonance are officially licensed. They deal with the estates, the families, whatever. And it's hand numbered. Most of them are mastered by Bernie Grundman from the original tapes. So this one's kind of funky. Maybe that's why this one is a little cheaper. It says audio transferred from the original tape reels and restored. So that's probably a analog to digital. They kind of did their magic to it and then pressed it. Bernie Grundman, of course, is a legend in the field, so he's not gonna, put his name or his initials on the run out of anything that doesn't sound quite great. Okay, now we have Belladonna. This is the Stevie Nicks classic album, Belladonna. I think this is the second new release of this I have. And it's produced by Jimmy Iovine. And Stevie Nicks kind of talks about this album on her latest live CD, and she kind of pulled Fleetwood Mac aside saying, I need to make a solo album. I'm not breaking up the band. This is not going to have any effect on the band, etc., etc. And then she went on to make this wonderful album. And she talks about how she basically wanted to be in the Heartbreakers. And of course that couldn't happen. But, what song is it? Stop Dragging My Heart Around. Tom Petty recorded that, and then he kind of asked Stevie to sing on it, and the rest is history. But this is cool because it's got a second record of like early takes, alternate versions, demos, and B-sides that were not album cuts. So That's pretty good and moderately priced. 2 records for $40. I can't complain about that. I mean, I will, but Joni Mitchell has been very active as of late, and this is the Joni Mitchell Archives Volume 2. This is Blue Highlights. So these are all demos and live cuts of songs from Blue. Awesome, awesome record. Now, the most ridiculous release, period, is the Elton John Tom Bell sessions. Okay? Not even talking about the material. Okay? I'm not saying it's ridiculous because of the material. I'm saying it's ridiculous because everywhere I went, this album was anywhere from $30 to $32. It kind of I didn't see it for under $30. This was $29 where I bought it. And it's got 6 songs on it. Doesn't need any other help there. Bad Company. This is kind of cool on vinyl for the first time. This is the live. Is this the Wembley? Bad Company. It doesn't say. Bad Company Live, 1979. Anyway, this is the classic lineup. And again, you know, Paul Rodgers, such an amazing vocalist. Dave Brubeck Trio. So I guess the family has kind of taken back some of the... I'm not sure how it works, but the Brubeck family started this label called Brubeck Editions, and they have both of his sons kind of talking on the liner notes on the back, and so I'm not sure which one it is, whether it's Darius or Chris, but one of them says that you know, the best performances by Dave were always when he was mad. And this is live in Vienna from 1967. And the quartet was a trio this night because I think it was Paul Desmond. Yeah, Paul Desmond got distracted after their Hamburg show and kind of missed the plane, then the other plane, then the train. He kind of missed any way to get to the Vienna show the next night, probably, or the next 2 days. I'm not sure when the next show was. But anyway, he missed that show, and Dave was pissed. And he's banging on the keys, and it's a great show. To be honest with you, Dave Brubeck is a fantastic, fantastic musician. So it doesn't matter if he's happy or mad or pissed or whatever. I got the Blue Velvet soundtrack on marbleized blue vinyl, and this is 2 records for $40. So again, good price point. It's about $20 per record. I'm not sure if this is 180. It feels thick, but of course, Blue Velvet, David Lynch, Angelo Badalamenti, crazy Italian. It's a great soundtrack, and it's got a whole record of like unreleased cues and radio ads and whatever. So it's got kind of cool stuff. And then the second most ridiculous release. I'm not sure why it was $60 for 2 records. Hot Rocks, Big Hits and Phased Cookies. Exclusive limited edition, 2 180-gram glow-in-the-dark vinyl, lithographs on archival paper, original gatefold art. Again, you know, the Rolling Stones have enough money. You should make it. I don't even think it's them. I think it's the record label, Abco, that kind of pushed the price point. This is another one of those that I didn't know much about. I've seen this on CD or seen it, you know, wherever, but this is the first time on vinyl. This is Pete Townsend's Deep End, Face the Face. And this includes David Gilmour on lead guitar. Pete Townsend doesn't really need another guitarist, but, when he calls another guitarist, he's going to call Dave Gilmour. And I know that Paul McCartney has worked with Dave Gilmour on at least 2 different compositions, about 10 years apart, actually. So we got married from Flowers in the Dirt, even though it was recorded much earlier than 1989. It was on the 1989 Flowers in the Dirt record. And then in 1999, he did Run Devil Run with Paul, where they kind of went into Abbey Road for a week and kind of recorded the album that Linda wanted him to make. So it was kind of his first album back after Linda's death and kind of her spurring him on. But Dave Gilmour's on guitar, and he's fantastic. Here is Bonnie Raitt's new album. Limited edition teal vinyl. Awesome. And again, there's only 10 songs on here. But nice teal special edition. I don't think it's 180. It doesn't advertise it. So that's it for Record Store Day. I would love to know what you were able to get. And I know that the ridiculousness of the Taylor Swift 7-inch is just causing hysterics. I was in a record store, and me and my buddy were there, and he likes Taylor Swift, and he found the last Taylor Swift 7-inch. And this, I don't know, maybe 16-year-old girl was looking for it. And she asked, the guy, hey, do you have any more Taylor Swifts? And he could tell that she was, a fan. She wasn't trying to flip it. So my buddy gave it to her. And that was really nice. So that's kind of the spirit of Record Store Day. So Austin, this one's for you. Again, this is the first episode. Sorry for my ranting and raving, but these are my opinions. And I'd love to hear your comments, your thoughts. Let me know what records you got for Record Store Day, which ones you didn't get, where you went, how you got them, everything like that. I love to hear about people's Record Store Day experiences, because you know what? As much passion as I have for the ones I got, I know that there's just as much passion for people that got the ones they got. Like people, even though I'm not a huge Cure fan, people went crazy for the Cure. That Childish Gambino I heard was like, the number 1 release, which I don't know how that's possible, because every record store I went to had 20, 30 copies. It wasn't moving. Not even sure what a Childish Gambino is. Sounds like an Italian brat, to be honest with you. Anyway, so the last thing I want to discuss is Paul McCartney's new tour. So Paul McCartney played his first show since the pandemic at the Spokane Arena in Spokane, Washington, and he's calling it the Got Back Tour. Okay, the trailer for it looks kind of cool, and I went on YouTube to try to figure out, how it sounds, what it looks like. So there's a lot of videos on YouTube, and I found the set list, and it's kind of very similar to the one he's been doing for the last 15 years. I want to say it's kind of like Citi Field-ish on. Like, the set list has really not changed. It's kind of open with these songs, Let Me Roll It, then a piano bit, then the acoustic bit, then he ends with, the Beatles songs, closes with Hey Jude, then does 15 more songs. It's, and I'm not really surprised by some of the songs that he chose, because I'm going to be honest here, his voice is not what it used to be. His voice is pretty much shot. You could hear it on McCartney 3. Lost track of my McCartneys. You could hear it on McCartney 3. You could start to hear it on Egypt Station. New is probably the last album that sounds like a good vocal take. And that was 2013, 9 years ago. So what is that? He's 69. So the last time I saw him in concert was 2011, and that was probably the apex. I really don't think after that he sounds good anymore. It's tough. It's tough because he is who he is. He's Paul McCartney. Who tells Paul McCartney that you don't sing well? Besides this guy. And that's kind of the thing about being a fan. You have to be honest. You have to be honest. You can't just say everything the person does is fantastic. So anyway, let's go through the set list. He opens with Can't Buy Me Love. Then he does two Wings songs, Junior's Farm, Letting Go. Those are kind of easier to sing. Then he does Got to Get You Into My Life, Getting Better, which he has not done since 2003. So 1985. Then for some reason he does Maybe I'm Amazed, which couldn't sing it 10 years ago. Why would he think he could sing it today? Then he does a nice little acoustic bit. I've Just Seen a Face. In Spite of All the Danger. That's the first song that they recorded as the Quarrymen. He does Queenie Eye, which is a tolerable song. Lady Madonna, Fa You. Then he does kind of a cool medley, I guess. You Never Give Me Your Money into She Came In Through the Bathroom Window. So that's kind of a cool track listing. And it's not like You Never Give Me Your Money like he did in 2002 and 3. This is like the real song. It's not that bullshit version where he doesn't remember the words and it's whatever. This is the real version. Does Get Back. And then for the encore, it's a little different. I usually hate I've Got a Feeling. I just don't think it's I don't know. I like the recorded version, but I just can't sit through it. It's, but this was really cool. So his promo video of the tour showed like the stage setup with John Lennon on the big screen. And this is like the first time that he's been able to show John Lennon. Usually like when he does the tribute and Here Today, there's no pictures of John. I don't know if that's like a Yoko thing. Maybe they wouldn't approve it or, whatever. But so what's really cool about this is I've Got a Feeling is when John starts his everybody had a good year, everybody had a wet dream, that bit, that's John singing it. So like they do kind of the projection from Get Back, Let It Be, whatever we're calling it, of John singing that. So it's like Paul does his song live and then it goes into John Lennon doing that. I mean, I saw that done when the Beach Boys went out. They had Dennis Wilson and Carl Wilson sing their most, famous song while the Beach Boys backed them up. So they had like the isolated vocal track and whatever. And good thing because Get Back, they were able to do that. So, I mean, the fact that they were able to sing together and, you kind of see in the video, Paul McCartney turns around and he looks at the monitor, the big screen, and he's kind of tearing up, breaking up, whatever. And that is, kind of cool. Now, the one thing I will mention here is the set list I saw does not include Yesterday, which I'm actually really shocked that doesn't include Yesterday. The encores are I've Got a Feeling, Birthday, Helter Skelter, and then the Abbey Road medley at the end, Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and then the end. I'm going to have to do some research. I'm kind of curious if Yesterday really wasn't there or if someone just forgot to include it. Anyway, so that's kind of, Paul McCartney got back. Yes, he did. And from what I heard on YouTube and whatever, it's he sounded pretty good. If his voice stays like that, I might actually buy tickets to go see him at the Giant Stadium. Oh, Lord knows that's an expense. But yeah, so again, I'd love to hear your comments, your thoughts, argue with me, whatever you need to do. And here's to much more time together during our podcast. Thanks for listening and watching, and take care. Till next time.